谢讲员你们的辛劳，还有同工们哈。那我们今天呢，特别有这样的一个环节，也是有很多人建议，就是说我们希望看到一些未来啊，看到一些产品吧，给大家有一些啊一些方向，一个未来。但是我们不是说啊一定要找到一个 perfect 的，没有完美的啊，所以也不要给这些来分享的孩子很多压力哈。就算我们自己也不是完美的啊。那我们感谢主，有3位孩子呢，他们愿意来分享了啊，嗯，第一个是 Elizabeth，第二个是 Joshua，然后还有 Daniel。Daniel 因为他全家在参加他弟弟的毕业典礼，所以他今天没办法参加，但是我们会用recording 的方式。那我们会分成2个环节哈。第一部分呢，我会先请他们呢，有大概15分钟的时间呢，来分享他们个人的在家教育的经历，然后介绍他们的大学的经历，特别也希望借这个机会来介绍他们的大学。所以，我们这次有2个目的呢，一个是介绍这些 homeschool 的成长的孩子，然后也希望介绍他们，因为他们读的都是基督教大学，盼望大家有这个机会也可以多认识一些基督教的大学啊，因为我们在今天这个环境呢，大学真的也要考虑能够让我们的孩子有那个品味，有那个能力去进到基督教大学。所以我们先让15分钟时间让他们来分享，之后我们会有另外5分钟呢，再来问他们一些怎么样能够准备进入这个学校，要准备什么。之后呢，如果还有一些时间呢，我们可以你们可以来提问，所以你有一些问题的时候呢，可以也写在 chat 上面。那为了节省时间呢，我就让他们直接用英文来讲啊。那抱歉呢，我们不会同步来翻译。那至少我们在回放的时候呢，我们会加上中文的字幕，这样好不好？啊，这样我们可以多节省时间。So I assume Elisa Josh, you understand my Mandarin, right? I don't need, right? Good. Yeah. All right. So in your talk, you can also briefly introduce yourself. Okay. All right. So I'm very honored to introduce the first panelist, Elizabeth Chen, who is my youngest daughter. All right. All right.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth. I'm Pastor Lenny's youngest daughter. I'm very honored to be able to speak with you all today about my homeschool experience and my college with you all today. I'm currently a rising junior at Patrick Henry College. It's located in Virginia. I'm studying environmental science and stewardship with a minor in music. I hope what I shared today will be helpful to you as you think about your children's homeschool journey and future college. So I'll first share about my homeschool experience as I was homeschooled from kindergarten to 12th grade. And to be honest, I have little memory of my homeschool years before high school, but what I do remember were the wonderful trips and projects that my mom would bring me on. I enjoyed making history timelines and nature books. And besides conducting projects, my mother also brought me on many field trips with other homeschoolers. So we would go to different presidents' homes, museums, gardens, and national parks. And I really enjoyed the flexibility throughout the school year to be able to go to these sites and learn about the people or the science at that site. After a trip, I often became overwhelmed when my mom would ask me to write a paper or a book about the place we visited. But now looking back, I'm thankful for the opportunity to learn more deeply about the site while also practicing my writing skills. Throughout my elementary and middle school years, I also enjoyed taking art, lab-based science, and computer coding classes. I enjoyed spending time doing extracurriculars, practicing violin, swimming, gardening. I'm very thankful that homeschooling allowed me to have this time to participate in many activities and learn all the subjects through a biblical worldview while still enjoying the time of learning together with my parents and my friends. However, during high school, I had kind of a difficult journey with homeschooling. My older sisters were at college, and I did not have much of community anymore around me. So I did struggle with self-discipline by myself studying. If I'm being honest, the biggest distraction for me was the internet on the laptop or phone. And I had times of depression and negative thoughts. And so I asked my parents if I could go to public school because I thought it would help me to be more disciplined and motivated. But I'm very grateful for my parents who chose to continue to homeschool me. I took HSLDA online courses in English and math, which not only provided structure and deadlines, but also opened my eyes to the beauty of studying these subjects through the Bible. The teachers taught me valuable lessons through the books we read, and I was able to find a godly community around me through the classes. So overall, I praise God that He allowed me to persevere through my homeschool education because I realized the value of a strong biblical education over preferences of wanting to fit in with everyone else at public school was so much higher. I also saw the joy of spending time with my family, doing chores at home, and studying together. While I admit I often spent more time than I should have on the internet than reading or studying, I wish I could go back, but I'm thankful for the opportunities I was able to learn on my own, which taught me to be disciplined and responsible. So next, I'll be sharing about my.
Maybe wait here that the
Okay.
people are saying that they don't quite understand everything. Maybe
Okay.
OK special for them 呢，特别为你们参加了啊，那个我就简单的不是一句一句的翻译，好不好？OK，我刚忘了介绍了这个 Elizabeth 呢，她现在是读的是 PHC Patrick Henry College 是在 Virginia。那她刚刚提到就是说，呃，那个其实本来高中的时候他有很多挣扎呢，那想回到公立学校，但是后来我们也没有，他还是继续来学习。那特别有一个机构叫做 HSLDA 呢，它有很多给高中生的课程呢，他在那里有得到很多的帮助啊。那这是他这个 homeschool 的一个过程，不是没有问题的，而是还是会有一些挑战。好，OK，you continue your second part，yeah。
So next I'll be sharing about my college experience, why I chose Patrick Henry College, and I'll be referring it to PHC. I had heard of PHC through HSLDA because 24 years ago, the leaders of HSLDA founded this school. They had this vision to equip the next generation of leaders. And so I always knew about PHC, but I thought it was more focused on government. And so I applied more as a backup school initially. But throughout the application process, the admissions office personally interacted with me and my parents, intentionally caring for us as if I were the only applicant. The values of the school are high academic rigor, fidelity to the spirit of the American founding, and unwavering biblical worldview. But the framework of classical education still overwhelmed me. And so even after visiting the school, I felt overwhelmed by the high standards. However, after visiting another Christian college in Massachusetts, where the academic and spiritual values were not as high as PHC, God opened my eyes to see that He was calling me to this school in Virginia. God showed me that there were opportunities for me to continue my love for science and music, as the school had a music minor and recently had a environmental science and stewardship major. Talking to the professors and students individually helped me to see that the professors are excellent in their fields, yet are first devoted Christians who deeply care for their students' academic and spiritual lives. Each of the students I talked to had a genuine desire.
Sorry, maybe stop here. Otherwise, I lost all the start. OK， 哦，他这个学校叫 PHC， 就是 Patrick Henry College。Patrick Henry 是一个美国建国的元老啊，叫做 Patrick 亨利，在 Virginia。那他我都不当我们去申请这个学校的时候呢，他们的态度非常的好，好像我们就是唯一一个学生被需要申请的，而且 他们的学术各方面的要求也是很高的。后来我也去申请了另外一个学校，也是基督教学校，但是就看到很大的不一样啊，所以我就选择了这个 PHC。OK，continue。
So I was inspired because PHC's mission is to equip the next generation of leaders in whatever God has called them to, whether it's in government or workplace or even especially in the family. So as they're training you to be a good mother or father, if that's what God is calling them to. Okay. Um, and so through this process of applying to college, God um, wanted me to walk towards my fears and trust Him to provide. So I'm very thankful that God gave me this courage to attend the college. And so I've been there for the past few years, and I've greatly enjoyed attending the college because um, it's only 400 students right now because it was just founded 24 years ago. And so it's a great transition from being a homeschooler and going into college. And so the community has definitely been a blessing to me. There's been a lot of challenging courses and emotions, but people in the admissions office, registrars, professors, people in my dorm, they've all been very encouraging and caring, uh, praying for me specifically. I'm really inspired by how they pursue everything with excellence for the glory of God. And they're focused on the materials, on the Bible, and they really challenged me to have more godly centered desires and habits. So through the people around me at my college, I've been learning how to love God, others well, but still with humility and trust in God. So PHC has helped me grow academically. They do have a business casual dress code, but they're doing this to prepare students for the workplace. And they're learning to be disciplined in their studies. They're known for their 63 core credits. So they take courses, students take courses like theology of the Bible, Western civilization, recitation, biology, and music history. So for example, in my recitation class, I had to memorize a one-page poem every 2 weeks in front of my peers. But that actually helped me in my public speaking and just presenting in general. And through these courses, I've also learned to build connections among our faith, the different courses, and our own lives. So for example, in Western civilization, I learned about the history of Greece and Rome and how the worldviews of that day shaped the culture. And we can see some of the consequences today. And most importantly, PHC has helped me grow spiritually. The student body and faculty participate in corporate chapel 3 times a week for worship and a brief message by a Christian leader in the field. Students also meet twice a week for Wing Chapel, which is a more smaller Bible study in your dorm. And I've seen the importance of making these consistent habits to worship God together and encouraging one another at my school. I have dealt with a lot of challenges health-wise and spiritually and emotionally, but God has really provided the people to help me through these challenges. So yeah, throughout this process, I still have 2 more years, but I'm thankful God has given me a heart and a mind to rejoice in Him and to fight for joy. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
OK，谢谢哦，Thank you Elizabeth。这个学校只有大概不到400个孩子哈，所以是个很小的学校，而且因为我也去过好几次啊，是个很属灵的学校，而且它有70%-80%都是在家教育的孩子去的，因为他的创校的人呢的这个 founder 呢本身就是在推动在家教育的。他就看到在家教育直到了大学，直到高中不够的，所以他就创建这个学校，叫 PHC， 你可以再参考。Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Now I give the time to Joshua. I think it's still just let you talk, go through words. Okay, we add the subtitle. 好不好意思哈，我想还是让孩子就直接这样顺着讲然后呢， 我们准备看回放的时候，我们会加的中文的字幕，好不好？OK，那我这是 Joshua，是我们 Jennifer，我们的同工在德州的 Jennifer 姐妹的孩子哈，她的学校是 Grove City，是在宾州啊，她是读 Economic right，and minor in Math，经济系，
Yeah.
然后还有复修数学，好吧？好，Welcome Joshua。
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua. Uh, I've been homeschooled my entire life, and right now I attend Grove City College, where I have a major in economics and a minor in math. So first, I'll be going through my homeschool experience. And to be honest, I don't really remember very much from elementary to middle school. From elementary school, the main thing I remember is I would get done with all of my homework and I would go like have fun and play outside. But I do remember that in comparison to like my church friends that I would have at on Friday night church, the Kumon level math that they were doing was really, really easy and my academics were probably a lot better than theirs at that current period in time. I also do remember doing Bible study with my mom basically every morning, where we'd go through, I think, every chapel's uh, course for their children. So that was fun too. But on to high school because that's what I actually remember doing when I was being homeschooled. My experience was quite positive. I think being homeschooled allowed me to do three different things, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I were public schooled. First and foremost, the academic level I feel like was actually better than what a lot of public schoolers actually get because you're allowed to choose the classes that you want to take, and the level of class that you take just depends on your own individual level. So what I mean is if I wanted to take a bunch of college classes and dual enroll all throughout high school, then I could do that. I actually had a friend who goes to Patrick Henry College right now. He basically sat down and every 2 weeks he would take one college class and then he'd gain college credit. And by the time he was done with high school, he also had completed his bachelor's degree in I'm not sure what degree, but basically had completed college already by high school. So homeschooling allowed you to do that. I took 11 AP classes and I got a lot of college credit for that. So that was really good. There's also tons of flexibility. So with public school, you are stuck in the room with the teacher for, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours. You're at school and you have to be there. And it doesn't matter if you're actually learning anything from the teacher, you have to be there. And that's something that I've heard talking to a lot of people that I know at college, where it's just kind of useless for you to sit in the classroom if you don't really gain anything. So being homeschooled allows you to actually uh, I guess, economize your time, make it the most efficient possible, and you actually can draw out the things that you need to learn, and you do it much more efficiently than if you were to do it at a regular public high school. There was also certain classes that I wouldn't have been able to take in public school, like a worldview class. I took one on worldviews, and it was pretty good. I learned about communism and Christianity and why Christianity doesn't necessarily contradict with science and all of that. So that's very good as well. And then thirdly, there's the extracurriculars that you get to do as a result of the additional flexibility afforded to you with homeschooling. And the main extracurricular that I did was debate. I had a homeschool speech and debate league, I guess. It's called STOA. There's another one called NCFCA. So if you do homeschool your kids, you should probably do one of those too because they're kind of good. But basically, you'd go to a tournament every, I don't know, month or so. You would compete for 3 days and you just debate or publicly speak. And that's what I did for fun. And you actually learn a lot from it. And I feel like that's probably where I got most of my ability to think from in high school. So that was very, very good. And if you're scared of not having a social life because you're being homeschooled, it's through those extracurriculars that you get to do more of through homeschooling that you actually have a social life, which is how I ended up at Grove City College. I had a friend through speech and debate that told me, hey, I'm going to apply to this college. There's this scholarship thing that you should do. Maybe you should also apply to that college. So that's how I ended up at Grove City College. But that's the main homeschool experience that I had within high school. It was pretty good. I didn't really struggle too much. And I feel like it gave me more flexibility to accomplish what I needed to do within high school. So did you want to stop there and translate, or should I keep going
Uh,
to?
just keep going. Yeah.
Okay, then how I got into Grove City College. So my friend from debate, he said one day, "Hey, the deadline for the scholarship application is going to happen in 2 days. You should probably sign up for that if you want to apply to the same college." So that's what I did. I spent around 4 hours the next day, I think it was a Sunday afternoon, filling out the application for Grove City College's trustee program, which is their big scholarship program. So initially, I didn't really know that much about Grove City College, and I wasn't too, I guess, excited about their academics because there's just a random Christian college out in the middle of nowhere. They probably don't have uh very great academics, right? But then I got in, and then they gave me a lot of money, which is why I ended up going there. The interview process, I I was flown up to Pennsylvania where I conducted the interview, and they had three separate events. You had an individual interview where you sit down with the professor, they ask you a bunch of questions. There was a group interview where they ask you to interact with a group of your peers to see how you would interact within a classroom setting. And then there was an essay where my essay was it was a passage from St. Augustine on gold and silver, how you should take the gold and silver from the pagans so that you can gain wisdom and such. So I wrote an essay there, and that was fun. What I didn't actually know was they were interviewing you, like testing you throughout every stage of the process, even if you didn't know. So there was like this big dinner that they had before all the events the night before, and you sat down with current students in the program, the trustee program, and you just eat with them and a professor. And that's all that they said it was. But actually, I participated in this dinner last year as part of the program now, and you're actually supposed to rank all the individual students that you talk to at the dinner. So they're pretty rigorous about who they select in this process. But I got in, they gave me a lot of money, and now I'm at Grove City College. And Grove City College, you would think that it's a random private Christian school, probably doesn't have very much academic success, but I would say their academics are quite difficult. And in comparison to many colleges around the United States, they don't have grade inflation, and they're actually hard. The professors there care, and they make you do hard things. I spend around maybe 8 to 9 hours every day on weekdays studying there. So it's a lot of time, but I think the main reason why it's really good, the academics are quite difficult, so you're forced to learn a lot. The professors are really nice. You can walk up to them and talk to them. I know a lot of professors that are interested in my personal life and such, and we talk about certain things. You can talk to professors about movies if you want, but they're also really willing to help. So if you're struggling with any concept, you just walk up to their office, you ask, "Hey, how do you do this?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, let me teach you." So it's really good. Grove City College also has a core academic curriculum, just like Patrick Henry College. We have five classes in the humanities core. Uh, One of them is biblical revelation, where we go over the Bible and cover the key concepts. Then there's Western civilization, which is just history of Western thought. There's Civ Arts, which is the history of like art and music within Western civilization. And then there's one about literature too. And then there's the one I took last semester, which is called Christ Civ. It's Christianity and Civilization. I took it with Dr. Truman, Dr. Carl Truman. I think he's famous amongst the theologians. He's really good. Anyways, we go through the period of philosophy from the modern ages, around medieval ages up till now, to show like trace the line of philosophical thought up until today. And it answers a lot of questions like why is it kind of more difficult to be a Christian today than it was back then and such. So it was a really good class. It was really interesting. That's on the core curriculum that you're required to take. Grove City College is also really great in terms of their community. I think, first of all, it's very Christ-centered, and it's also conservative, but not in the way that you would necessarily expect. Like with a lot of private Christian colleges, they have a lot of rules, maybe. Perhaps they force you to go to chapel every single day, or at least the weekdays or a certain amount of days of the week or something like this. But with Grove City College, and there's 2,500 students there, I think there was like a self-selection mechanism where it's not necessarily that the faculty and the structure around you forces you to be conservative and Christian if you don't want to be, because they're also very liberal in terms of Western liberalisms, like they like freedom of speech and such. Um, there's like a self-selection bias where all the people that go to Grove City College are just naturally conservative and Christian. So even if you don't necessarily have to go to chapel, like they do have required chapel credits, so you have to go like 12 times a semester. There's a bunch of Bible studies that just happen organically, like with your hall or with your residence, which I think is much better than actually being forced to go to chapel or something like that. So that's the community there. I will say it is a bit cliquey. And by cliquey, I mean people have their group of friends and you can interact with people, other people that are like outside your group of friends, but it's sometimes a little bit difficult to get into a group. But if you join clubs and you get to know people in your first year, it's pretty good. Okay, and then lastly, the opportunities at Grove City College are also pretty good. So next year I'll be doing four things. I'll have a research position at the college's think tank, which is called the Institute of Faith and Freedom. Uh, what I'll be doing is I'll be spending around 19 hours a month, I think, or a week, either one of those two, doing research with one of my professors, which is really good because I want to go to graduate school for economics, and they really want you to have research experience. And Grove City College allows you the opportunity to just go to a professor, ask them, "Hey, do you want to do research with me?" And then they'll do that. I also know other people, like in chemistry, where uh, there's a bunch of professors that are like testing wine for certain chemical properties. I don't know. I'm not part of STEM, but you can basically go up to professors, ask to do research, and if you're a good student, they'll do that for you, and it's pretty good there. There's also a law journal, which I'm a part of, where if you want to go to law school, you can write for this undergraduate journal. It gets sent out to like 1,000 different people. That's pretty good for your resume too. And then there's also a debate club there, which is also good for opportunities. And just to, I don't know, push Grove City a little bit more than the other college. I'm not saying we're competing, but we are a little bit for students. I will say Grove City College has a very good STEM department in comparison to other conservative Christian colleges because a lot of those colleges are focused mainly on the liberal arts. And Grove City College is a liberal arts college. Like they have their core curriculum, but we also have, I think, roughly half of our students are part of STEM. So that would be the science, technology, engineering, and math. And our STEM department is quite good, actually. We have, I know a lot of people in computer science. The engineers are always there. They don't shower, but they're very, very good. The classes are quite difficult, and they spend a lot of time studying. I obviously have a math minor, and the math professors are also very good, but they test you quite rigorously. So if you also are looking at conservative Christian colleges, but particularly you want a STEM program like math or chemistry or biology or something like that. I think Grove City College is probably your best bet. So yeah, that was my homeschool experience, and that's what I'm doing at college right now. I'm just there, and it's pretty fun. I think it's a good time. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you, thank you. I think you are very good student, school ambassador to can speak for your school. 所以其实你会发现，很多时候我们以为基督教学校这种学术要求是比较好像比较简单的，其实他们的要求都很高的哈。呀，那非常谢谢，Thank you Joshua。我们第三位是也是我们同工的孩子刘磊的大儿子 Daniel。他已经毕业了，他现在在工作了。OK，他所读的学校是 BJU 在南卡啊。那他就事先录了视频了哈，那我就放他的视频给大家来看。
Hello. First off, I'd like to thank Pastor Tony for giving me this chance to speak. And I really appreciate all of you who are listening today. So first off, I'd like to start off by talking about my homeschool experience. Basically starting from the third grade-ish. That's when I basically started to start homeschool with my mom. And it was a bit later that my younger brother also joined us in homeschool. And I would say homeschool is a pretty interesting experience. One of the biggest things that I felt that isolated me during elementary school was that because I was Asian, Chinese, and I also was either American or African American, so that sort of excluded me in some circles. So that was a bit uncomfortable. But when I was homeschooled, there was some minor differences, but I would say the thing I most appreciate about homeschool was having my mom teaching me the correct set of values, as well as have the time to do everything I need to do at my own pace, basically. Because if I was homeschooled, I could do anything I wanted to do as long as I followed the schedule and it was okay with my mom. So I was able to find other homeschool kids to interact with, other groups to hang out with. Every Tuesday when I was younger, I joined a sports group, basically, where we would all hang out Tuesday afternoon and do some activities outdoors. And we would just come back really tired, but we always had a lot of fun. But I always appreciated the environment of homeschool, just the fact that mom would always be there for us. She would read the Bible to us, explain why that was important, and then she would try to teach us. And all there were times when the mom was struggling with teaching us, and we were really frustrated with each other because some of us didn't understand, and mom didn't really understand how to teach us. I would say that I really enjoyed having my mom teach me because she was patient. She knew how to deal with me, and she knew that as long as she explained things, that she would be able to follow the path God set her on in trying to teach us at home, and away from the secular influence of the more public schools and towards a more Christian environment. And I would say one of the big changes that happened was mostly due to the fact that as I got older and spent more time in a Christian environment, I was having a bit of trouble sometimes fitting in school. I would go to school, local school for taking PSATs, SATs, and sometimes I'd go to a local college in order to take some AP courses, college level courses for high schoolers. And those were some difficult times, mostly because I would be the only homeschool kid among a bunch of other students. And although I would just basically sit in class and just pay attention to what the teacher's telling me, it was a bit nerve-wracking to be sitting among all these students who practically all knew each other, as they basically are all in the same class, the same group. But for me, I just sort of stuck out. And that's why I really sort of enjoyed going to Bob Jones, because all these secular schools, one of the major differences is that they didn't really discuss religion. They didn't really discuss faith. Any public school I went to, there was no like starting prayer. There was no talk about Jesus or what we believed in, or any kind of like devotion time that was publicly mentioned. It was probably something that I probably had to look for. And since I was just someone who just attended the classes at the college, I wouldn't really know where to look for that. So going to Bob Jones was a really good experience for me. And I would say it's a very good experience for any Christian family or young adult who wishes to find that kind of environment. Because when I first joined Bob Jones, when I first visited Bob Jones, what really stuck out to me was the fact that everyone is friendly. The tour guide there was very, very forthcoming. He was explaining everything very well, showing us the various locations, as well as explaining what some of the students were doing on campus as we walked around. And I would say another big thing was that when I was introduced to the campus, basically what happened was at certain times, it would just be an intro to student-only life. So all the adults would be taken somewhere else, and all the new students or potential students would basically all hang out together and sort of experience what it's like to be a college student. And basically the tour guide and the leaders, they would try to make it inclusive for everybody. They wouldn't shy away from just excluding one person or not, but it was a very fun experience. And what was even more welcoming was the fact that the love of God was felt everywhere. You could see students sometimes praying in public, praying out on the lawn in front of the dining common, and no one else would judge them. No one else would say anything. It was just a common sight you would see there. So that's what sort of led me down this path to go to Bob Jones. Just that everyone there was willing to not hide in their faith. And that's when I made my, after praying for a very long time and talking to God and considering all my other options, I felt like as though God was calling me to Bob Jones. Even though it wasn't probably the best school I could go to academically, I think it was the one that I wanted to go that would have the most impact on my spiritual life. And I would say that is a very big change, because as I started to attend Bob Jones, the religion of Christianity, the love of God, and the faith that we all displayed in having Jesus as our Savior, that was very prevalent in the school. Almost every morning, actually every morning, we would have a chapel service. 11 o'clock each day, we would either meet in the main chapel building, or we would meet with other fellow students who were leading small services. And it was interesting this year because it wasn't just one speaker every time, it was multiple speakers. And we weren't afraid to pray as we spent time together. I remember a lot of times where when there were Bible studies and prayer meetings all throughout campus, out in public, and anyone could see us if they saw us to go by. But that sort of helped build me up my confidence as a Christian, because as I spend more time being in the Word, talking to God, and spending more time with Him, the more I realized I could probably do that anywhere. And people may judge me, but in this community, no one would. Many people probably encouraged me to pray to God. So this environment of having all Christians or having mostly Christians, you don't have to be afraid of people judging you for your faith. You can pray before you eat. You can pray for emergencies, or just pray in general. You can read your Bible, and everyone understand what you're doing there, even if it's just something they may not understand why you're going through it, but they understand that God delivered you here. And the leaders were also very accommodating. I had a teacher, an engineering teacher, not even a biblical teacher. He would, every single class, he would start with prayer. And that's not just relating to the engineering teacher, that was for every other professor as well. They were all raised with the belief that God is the creator of all, and that Jesus died for our sins. And they would take lessons and not only try to incorporate some of the Christian message into that, but they would also encourage us to not be afraid. And they were also excellent examples of Christianity. They would be willing to help whenever need be. They'd be able to provide advice and direct us to other figures of authority in the faith. And that was just something I really appreciated as I spent more time, that these professors, they're full-grown people. They have their own careers, and they're actually going out and trying to spread the gospel to us and trying to lead us on the correct path. And that was just amazing for me, that this whole school, all these professors were all willing to help me out with my faith as well as my academic studies. And it's just an inspiration that I could look up to them and see what potentially God would want me to be, someone that was willing to lead other fellow students in the faith. as well as guide them down the correct path that God will want me to follow. And then not only the professors, but also my fellow peers. I actually had two very good friends. One was a year older than me, and one was actually the same age as me. And these two were very, very impactful in my lives. My senior, basically, he brought me into the Bible group or the society that I was a part of. And we talked a lot. We enjoyed a lot of the same things, such as music. But he was one of the people who really helped lead me spiritually. He would be involved in a lot of the activities that we would set up, such as Bible study, prayer meeting, some singing as well. And that was something I really appreciate, that he led me down, that led me to that group that I was able to associate with. And that in with that group was my fellow college student who he was a Bible major, but he was extremely devoted. Even now, he is at his own church now, trying to lead as best as God calls him. And just seeing someone at my age willing to spend so much time in the faith, just continuously studying, praying to God, and trying to deliver God's message, even to those who may not be willing to hear it. It was a big inspiration. I would try to listen all the time, even if I did not understand the message, but I just enjoyed listening to him, just not because of just what he was teaching, but also because of how passionate he was, how willing he was to spread God's message to us, to show us that in these verses that God was writing to us, he was showing his love for us. And all these factors combined were a very big inspiration as to why I went to Bob Jones. It might have been tough because, yes, college is tough in general. Unfortunately, you will struggle and you may fall, but all these believers, they're willing to assist you, whether it be academically or spiritually. You may fail at some point, you probably will fail, but they're there to pick you up. They're just good people. And this environment that God helped create, this was all God's doing. It wasn't a very big school. It was a medium-sized school. Then everyone practically knew each other. You might not be able to recognize names, but you probably know faces, but you would all know each other, and you could take comfort in the fact that no matter what happened, you would have a brother or sister in Christ that would be willing to listen to your troubles, be willing to assist you with all that you need. And having this free environment of being able to live my life how I want as a Christian, not being afraid of people of judging me for my faith, I was able to, I would say, strongly develop my faith there. There were times that it was difficult. Sometimes I failed a grade. Sometimes I went down the wrong path at times, but I would always have people there to watch me and guide me. And this is why, this is my experience at Bob Jones University. It's a Christian school. It may not be the best academic school. It may not be the biggest school, but it is, I believe it is a school that if you wish to follow God's path, if you want to try to build up your spiritual faith, if you want to find that community within Christianity and enjoy and study and enjoy life as you being able to enjoy this community of fellowship in Christ Jesus, then I would say that this school will probably be one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, place for you to grow up as you adjust from spending your time as a teenager to a young adult, and eventually be even farther beyond.
哇哦，可以从这边看都很喜欢他们的学校，我们也为这些基督教学校感谢神啊。 有这么多老师，他们愿意投入来帮助这些下一代的年轻人。其实这也是我们讲的说，你要重建这个学习的空间，我们要创造更多这样的空间，这样的环境呢，就让更多人能够得到帮助。我们也谢谢这些家长们他们的努力哈。然后第二个问题呢，我就要请他们来分享一下，就是说，怎么样能够对这些现在还没有大学的这些孩子特别我们很多父母是在这里，怎么样准备我们的孩子来，特别是如果要进入他们这个大学啊。So this second question, how do you prepare for what's the advice for the younger one, how to prepare themselves to attend your school? Okay, so again, let's get started from Elizabeth.
Okay. I would say continue studying diligently. I think high school, sometimes we think, oh, we can just put it off to college, but these habits start when you're in high school, or if you're younger. So whatever age you are, I would say develop a love of learning through your studies, through whatever extracurriculars you are pursuing. Continue serving, whether it's in your family, church, other communities, because I've really found that serving helps us grow and learn more about God and helps us to, love others as well. And so, most important too is building that strong foundation and relationship with God through consistent habits. So, as we mentioned, like reading the Bible every day, maybe you do that with your family already. Try to build that habit on your own, because that will be the most important part as you're away from home in college, and beyond as well. So PHC is not a perfect school. There's no perfect college, but you will only grow if you yourself have that inner desire to seek God first and to live out your faith. And in doing that, you can encourage those around you to prepare to be used by God in whatever capacity or field of study He calls you to. And I would say don't be afraid of challenges or failures, because these are all opportunities to grow in knowledge of who Jesus is and how He's shaping you into His child. I would say specifically for PhD, since we are based on a classical education framework, if you want to get started on classics, reading Homer, Lewis, Aristotle, they're not as daunting as they may seem. It's a privilege to be able to read such old works of literature. And so just getting an introduction of that will be helpful as you come into PhD. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. All right, Joshua, your turn.
Okay, I think number one, eat as much food from your parents as you can while you can, because the food at college is not very good. So eat up. Um, yeah, the stuff that Elizabeth said about building habits is mostly important, especially within college. You're given a lot more freedom. So if you don't want to show up to class, I guess you don't have to. You're probably gonna fail your classes, but nobody's really gonna force you to do that. So building up a strong work ethic, self-discipline, that's really key for college, which I think is pretty generic for most colleges, but I will say homeschooling allows you to uniquely target that because of the more flexible deadlines. Um, with Grove City College especially, I mean the acceptance rate it's not that though. It's pretty high actually. So if you're pretty decent, you're gonna get in. But really, most important is to just set those strong foundations, get those habits, and don't don't like be bad. Let's see here. And get a really heavy winter jacket because it's cold. Um, so yeah, that's my advice.
Okay, compare with Texas, it's very cold, huh?
Yes, it's very cold.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we invite Daniel to speak up for the second part. All right.
Hello. I would say one of the big things that homeschoolers can do to prepare for college is sort of try to maybe experience a bit of community school experience or college experience. For me, I took some AP courses at local college, and although some of it was a bit interesting, I would say the biggest benefit to that was sort of understanding what a college class / experience was like for a temporary period. Because basically, as you're homeschooled, you're being basically taught hands-on by a teacher. Basically, your mom or your dad or whoever's teaching you, they would basically watch you as you do your work, and you have questions, just directly ask them. For college, it's fairly different. You're expected to be independent. They ask you to look around, prepare yourself for the material that they're going to teach. And basically, they'll explain a bit more in depth, as well as provide some more clarity as to what you're studying. But a lot of the classwork and actual study time preparation is up to you. How you want to spend it, how you want to spend that time. So I would suggest trying to maybe get some of that experience of a little bit of college life. And then the other thing I would mention would be trying to manage your time, because you only have so many hours during a day. You can stay up, but I would not recommend that. When you have specific hours dedicated to classes, and then you have probably other hours dedicated to other times, just meal time, or in my school, chapel or church, basically. So basically, that's maybe about 4 to 5 hours a day, just attending classes, as well as other required activities. And then you have the rest of your day, basically, where that's up to you how you want to spend your time. You can either study, hang out with friends, go play sports, exercise, have fun. But yeah, a lot of these things are up to you, but you need to figure out what is a good balance for you. How much time do you actually need to study and understand everything, your homework done, and how much time do you actually need in order to complete it and not overstress yourself just doing homework, and then actually enjoy the college experience a bit, of just enjoy your independence a bit. And then to prepare for Bob Jones, I'd like to remind you that everyone is very friendly there, so you don't have to really be afraid of sharing your faith, as well as talking to other people. If you aren't, there are professors there that will help you. And another thing is, Bob Jones does have some rules, but I would say these rules help prepare you for the actual real world, the adult world, as you grow up. One of the main things is actually just a dress code. Many people might complain, but the dress code is something that you probably normally wear on a regular business day as you grow up. So it wasn't really that big of a deal, but it's just something that you should probably be aware of, that these rules aren't there to torment you or to hinder your cultural experience. They're there to help show you what's the professional life setting, as well as prepare you for growing up and actually spending your time actually having a job and preparing for that. It would also be a good idea to try to make sure you get enough sleep. That is one of the big things I would say. For Bob Jones, basically what happens is that you're required to turn out all the lights at 12 o'clock. So it doesn't mean you have to go to sleep at 12 o'clock, but basically all the rooms have to have the lights on at 12 o'clock. You can go downstairs into your dorm lobby and then study there. But I would say that's one of the big things. Try to figure out how much sleep you actually need. Try to have that. Try to get the sleep you need in order to prepare college life. As you grow older, you may want to spend some time. You might spend more time staying up late, but try to make sure you don't stay up too late that you wake up at a really bad time. That would also help prepare you for college. And then for Bob Jones, figure out what you value in a church. Every Sunday, you're asked to go to a church, whether it be go to a local church. That local church sends buses to the college, and those buses will pick you up and bring you to the church. and after the church service is over, they'll drop you off back at school. So you can either ride those buses, or you can go with a friend to a different church that you might be interested in. But figure out what you find most important in church. And then when you do so, try to find a church that fits you. And then beyond all that, just don't be afraid to test new things. Try to understand what you want to do in general. Even if you don't have a good idea of what you're doing, take basic courses, but try to find what you enjoy. If you do, because in the long run, you will enjoy working on a subject or a topic that you have a passion for, instead of something that you may not be interested in. So when you're studying something for your major, or you want to focus on something for your job, try to do something you enjoy.
OK， 哇，非常谢谢这3位哈。那我们还有一些时间，如果在场的有没有什么问题要来问现在就 Elizabeth 跟 Joshua 可以来回答的，有没有？同工们有没有收集到任何问题呢？都没有问题啊？有吗？OK， 这个问题是给 Joshua 或他的妈妈的哈。他是怎么样开始辩论的？是兴趣还是家长的建议？学习辩论需要哪些条件或潜质 ？OK， Jennifer， 你要不要跟 Joshua 一起怎么看回答这个问题？我们可以这样我们可以先退出来，好不好？这样可以更容易看到他们的脸，好不好？Or Joshua, you just want to get started first?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
That how do you get into the debate, and what type of capability you need to have to do well in debate?
So I got into debate because my older brother was doing debate and he just really liked it. And then I went to a few tournaments and then I did it because my older brother did it, but it was really fun. So I kept doing it. In order to do well, you need to be able to speak well and also have good logical thinking, I would say. But I think more important is actually being able to connect with the person you're trying to convince and figure out like you need to create a world in which how they think about the world needs to line up with what you're arguing. So I think that's actually more important in trying to persuade the person than actual logical reasoning. So yeah.
OK， Jennifer， 你要补充一下吧？
我们好像就是有一次月会有专门讲到那个辩与不辩，是不是？就专门谈那个 debate 的那个，如果有兴趣的人，弟兄姐妹可以去听那个。那个 question 是说他怎么开始，是不是？我觉得这个就是我跟我先生是大学的时候就有参加 debate 的队，然后但是我最早为什么会让这些孩子们去参加 speech 和 debate， 或者在网上怎么找到的？其实我是想他们能够最好的 communicate God's truth， 其实这是最初想让他们参加 speech 和 debate 的一个原因。我是盼望他们能够有一天能够传扬神的话语，能够很好的把神的话语给大家传讲。这是最初带他们去 debate 的，就是从那开始。但是开始了以后，那3个孩子，就是说3个男孩子都很喜欢。那他们既然兴趣，那我们就非常 encourage 他们。其实最早为什么我开始很有 passion， 就是在网上看到那些年轻的孩子，那么年轻的时候，那时候我们孩子还很小，就是很年轻的时候，他们就可以对神有这样的 passion，就可以把圣经或把神的真理能够那么好的传扬给大家。这是我其实最初带他们想要去参加 speech 和 debate 的，是这样子开始的，Yeah。
好，谢谢哈。好，那童工再放下一个问题好吗 请问牧师的女儿或师母啊，就不问牧师，学习音乐对于在家教育的重要性是怎么样的？有哪些音乐方面的学习是可以推荐给我们的孩子的 ？OK，Linda，so you also need to answer this. How do we get started learning the music? There are what type of learning about music we can recommend it to our children? Okay. So also Elizabeth, you want to share first, and then Linda can share.
Okay. Well, I started music because my older sisters, similar to Joshua, yeah, they play music. So I would say that our house was always filled with music, piano, flute, harp. And so that inspired me to pick up violin and piano as well. And also my mom would encourage us to go to like music concerts or listening to music throughout our house. So just I think being in music throughout your day is a big, yeah, it helps a lot to inspire the children to start music.
就像刚刚嘉许那个辩论的环境，其实环境很重要，因为我们家4个女儿都有不同的音乐，所以家里其实都是音乐声音哈。其实现在他们都出去了，其实反而我们家很安静啊。那也是因为这样影响，他们就开始来学音乐。Linda, you want to add something more?
Well, I think it's good to start with having children listen to good quality music, especially classical music. And it's actually, people say there's a link between music and mathematics. So it's like, will help you to, I guess, think about the rhythms and the harmony. I think it,
就先让孩子有机会去听那些古典音乐啊，那音乐其实跟数学其实也有很亲密的关系的。
And I think just the children having the discipline of having to practice regularly is good for them, and they can collaborate. It's something they can enjoy, and also the people who hear them play can enjoy as well.
所以就是孩子要操练他们，要能够练习啊，能够很常要练习，而且能够有机会让他们的音乐能够让更多人来听见。
Yeah. I think when I grew up, there was a lot of music in my home, so that's why I hope my children would learn music.
所以我从小时候在长大的时候，就是我们家也常常充满很多音乐，所以我们可以希望让孩子有这样的机会。Okay, thank you. 还有下一个还有。What's a recommended good age to start to join in debate club? Which one you may recommend? 大概几岁的时候会开始参加辩论呢？然后哪一个辩论呢？你会参加？或是 Jennifer， 你可以来回答这个问题。Jennifer， 你还在吗
Mom, you're still muted.
Oh, sorry, I'm still muted. So,
？OK，
yeah. Okay, sorry, I didn't get it. 一般好像是12岁以上吧，一般来说都是12岁以上，他那个 local club 才接收这个。但是现在那个 club 越来越多，他有些小孩很小就开始了，你可以先开始，Julian 就让他 speech 先开始，但是因为 debate 他要这个 logic thinking， 他要这个，所以要稍微 old 一点，可能差不多要12岁以上，至少初中以上。那我们的 kids 他现在美国就是说 homeschool 是2个 club，NCFCA 和 STOA， 他们是更 enjoy STOA 一些。我们2个 club 都有，就是说2个 league 都有去参加过，他们更 enjoy STOA 一些。就说 yeah，maybe Joshua, what do you say?
Yeah, NCFCA is more structured. STOA is a bit less, but I think it's more fun to be in STOA. So, yeah. But yeah, I think with starting debate, it's probably good to be a little bit older, say maybe like 13 or 14, Because when you're 12, you get up there, you don't really know what you're saying. You're just like speaking. You can do like speech, which is good. But debate it does require your brain to be a little bit more formulated. So yeah.
所以基本上还是稍微能够12岁以上大一点。OK， 还有没有问题？最后一个了吧？还有没有？同工还有没有有关？
其他的问题可以待闭幕式以后回答。现在我们如果有问题问毕业生的话，在这里回答；如果不是的话，就在后面。
好的，那我们这个环节就停在这里。好，非常谢谢 Elizabeth、Joshua